If you saw my last video, you know I just sold my 2003 silver metallic Mustang GT. The car was an automatic, I was daily driving it, I really enjoyed having it. I needed it for a daily driver, that's the reason I bought it, I fixed it up, everything was fine. But I decided that I was going to try to trade up to something else. And what got me started on that was seeing this Bullet for sale. Now I did not buy this Bullet, the guy was asking too much money and he didn't really want to let it go. And you know, I drove my 97 Mustang V6, it was laser red, I really enjoyed this car, it was my first Mustang. I daily drove this for 11 years and it was fun, it was a nice car, it did the job just fine, but I wanted the sound of a V8, I wanted the pause traction, and that's when I bought my Bullet, and that's when that whole crazy story exploded. And you can see that whole story, I've been making all the parts to that video, it's a very interesting story. But I had been daily driving that as my main daily driver car and eventually ended up built engine, supercharger, cams, everything, and I still daily drove it that way and it was a lot of fun. And during all this I had other GTs like this one. This is an '03 GT Premium and it had no spoiler on it, but I daily drove this car for a while. I daily drove a 2001 54,000 mile GT Silver Metallic, beautiful car as well. I daily drove my '98 Cobra and it was a nice car, brand new engine, everything. But the '04 Mach 1 that I had was probably one of my favorite cars to drive, and it looked good, lowered, deep dish wheels in the back, bright red paint. I love this car, torch red. This was probably the car I enjoyed the most daily driving for how smooth it ran. It had just enough power. I would still beat Subarus and a new SS Camaro with it. I beat a lot of cars on the street when I needed to. Not saying that I'm the best driver in the world or that the car is the fastest, because it's not, but it put up really well. It was a good contender. And I also had this zinc yellow Mach 1, it was a '03, and I really liked this car as well. I was daily driving this one for a little while, at the same time I was daily driving the red Mach 1, and a lot of this was to keep the miles off my blue Mach 1, because I never wanted to make it a daily driver. But anyway, this zinc yellow Mach 1 I had was very special to me. I really enjoyed driving it. When I'd take it places, I'd look back at it in the parking lot just like I did my other cars, and I enjoyed looking back at my other cars as well. But I remember specifically looking back at this one and seeing that bright yellow and saying, I'm never going to sell this car. Although I did sell it, I had it for sale, I got the money I needed out of it, and I couldn't turn down a good offer. So I had sold this car, but I've seen pictures of it now and then. I thought, you know, I really like that zinc yellow, and I do like it better than screaming yellow on the Mach 1. My personal preference, I really do like zinc yellow better on a Mach 1. And so I thought a lot about this car, and I really like the zinc yellow. I thought it was fun and bright to drive around, and there are a lot of cars that I would enjoy driving. But I thought that I should focus on getting another Mustang Mach 1, and there is a lady here in town that has a really nice low mile white one. She's the original owner, and she talked about selling it, but every time I've contacted her she's changed her mind. She said it's just not worth selling it since she paid so much for it new. But this zinc yellow kept coming back in my mind, and I thought if I was going to buy another Mach 1, I probably wouldn't buy Azure Blue because I already have that right now, but I'd probably buy another Torch Red or another Zinc Yellow or White. Those were the three colors that I like the most. And I even considered buying my yellow Mach 1 back from the guy who owns it now, because for what the prices are now on these cars, I sold it to him for a really good deal, and I thought, man, I should have just kept the car, or I should give him his money back and take the car back. But if you see these pictures of the car now, it's in really good shape. He has the AFS wheels on it, so he's added some money and investment there. He had the seat repaired on the bolster, and he's changed the exhaust, he had it tuned, he's done some more things to it, so I wouldn't expect to get this car back for the price I gave it to him. But I've been thinking a lot about it lately, and I honestly thought when I sold this car, there are very few zinc yellows that I have ever seen for sale. And on that topic as well, very few that still had the original bumpers, wheels, nice paint. There was one for sale when I was selling this one that was really beat up. The paint was peeling really bad. The quarter panel was dented in really bad. It had all sorts of issues. And the seller was asking just about what I sold mine for. So I started thinking to myself, you know, you might not find another nice, low mile, good looking, clean paint, zinc yellow Mach 1. They're just not really out there, especially around here. And so I thought about that, and I thought maybe I shouldn't have sold that car. And of course, I have regret on selling out all the Mustangs I've sold. I love them all very much. But there really wasn't anything local, so I started to expand my search, and I found this zinc yellow Mustang Mach 1 with 110,000 miles and what appeared to be excellent condition in California. And it looked like a really nice car. And I thought a lot about it, and looking it over, it had a lot of the things I'm looking for: original bumpers, no Cobra bumpers or anything. Still has original wheels, although I have some deep dish AFS wheels that I'd like to put on the car, and so I have that base covered. But anyway, I kept thinking about it, and I thought, well, if I can sell my silver GT for a decent price, it'll pay for about half of what this car is worth. The guy was asking $10,000 or best offer, which I thought was a pretty good price for the car with the mileage. And it's really not far off from mine or my brother's Mach 1s as far as that's concerned. But it looked like a really nice car, and I asked him a lot of questions, and he gave me a lot of good answers. He was really easy to deal with. And so I thought, well, this could be a little risky, but I'd like to go to California to get this car. It's about 7 hours away. And no matter how I looked at it, it was just going to be too difficult to get out there with my family or even have my brother drive out there. I'd have to have somebody drive with me there and then drive my other car back. And I've done that before. That's how I bought my orange Cobra, my Mach 1, my blue Mach 1, all my cars. I've taken trips. Even my torch red Terminator, I went to California back, took the whole family, everything, and it was fun. But right in this situation, with the availability of friends and everything, I came up with the idea of flying out there and driving it home, or in this case, taking a Greyhound and driving it home. And what's funny is I was at work and I was actually singing the Miranda Lambert song about taking a Greyhound bound for nowhere. I just kept singing it over with my coworker and laughing. And then I came home and I was talking to my wife about the trip and everything, and I thought, hey, why don't I just take a Greyhound bus? I bet it'll get me pretty close, and then he can pick me up, and then I'll just drive the car home. And so even though I had never seen the car, never driven it or anything, I agreed to buy the car, and I thought it was a little bit risky, but I thought it could be fun. But I was super excited to get another zinc yellow Mach 1. Zinc yellow, color so nice, you gotta buy it twice. So I had to do the waiting game for a couple of days. I was a little bit nervous waiting. I had to work and everything. And so what I like to do is go for walks around here in the neighborhood with my family, my little boys and my wife, and we'll go on walks. And I started envisioning places in the neighborhood of where I would like to see that Mach 1. To me now, the goal became taking that Mach 1 and bringing it back here. And so I'd go on these walks and I'd look and I'd say, oh man, I want to see the Mach 1 parked right here in this street. So on this walk, I saw this part of the street here, and I thought, I want to park the Mach 1 right there. I want to go on a walk and have my new Mach 1 parked right there and put it here. And this is all nerve-wracking to think about going on a trip and buying a car sight unseen, driving it home, taking my tools with me, making sure everything's going to work out. And on this other part of the walk with this new trail that's in our neighborhood, I saw the Mach 1 envisioned in my mind at the bottom right there. So I decided to go ahead and do everything I needed to, buy the tickets. I ended up inviting my younger sister to go with me. She's 21. You've probably seen her '03 GT on the channel if you watch this channel a lot. So she has a Red Fire GT that used to be my car. But anyway, I thought I'd invite her, and we get along really well as siblings. And she wanted to go and have a fun trip, so we decided to go ahead and do it and get it all planned out. And on a little side note, my friend had sent me this ad to an '03 zinc yellow Mach 1 with 2,000 more miles on it. And it was at a Ford dealership, and they were asking $19,900 for it. I couldn't believe it. So for the trip, we had to start at 9 o'clock at night, and we would be getting there at 7 in the morning. So this is us on the different shuttles. The first shuttle almost made us late. We had to change in Las Vegas, and we almost missed that shuttle because the first shuttle made us almost late. There's me and my sister. And this is in Barstow at the little stop that they let everybody get out for 20 minutes and walk around. There's a Greyhound bus. And it was just really fun to be traveling in the middle of the night. I did try to get some sleep, but it just didn't really work out because I didn't want to miss anything. This is Los Angeles, and we made it to the terminal. We had about 20 minutes to wait here, and then we took another bus to Oxnard, California. And it was really fun going through LA because this is a lot of really interesting history for my sister and me. We saw places where my parents had grown up. We saw places where my grandpa had his medical office when he was an MD and his clients were movie stars. So his office was on Wilshire Boulevard, and you hear those names in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. You hear about all these places in Southern California. And so as the trip continued, it got light, and it was just fun to travel through California like this. And it was fun having a bus to ride on because it was a little relaxing. You didn't have to try to find your way to where we were going. But of course, with every minute came more excitement, and I was getting ready to see the car for the first time. And if you know, that's one of my favorite things when I buy a car, is seeing it for the first time. How's it going to look? Where's it parked? Everything. So here it is.
There it is. Okay. You've got the fog lights on.
Oh man, how exciting. There it is. I can't wait to see it. You can't really tell, but as I'm walking up to it, I'm real shaky back and forth because I'm carrying a huge duffel bag with my 200-piece toolkit and all sorts of stuff, and my backpack full of tools.
The windows are so dark. That's sweet. Oh man, it looks good. Hey there.
So here's the car. Absolutely beautiful. I was very pleased, and I am still to this day very pleased with my purchase. Really nice car, low miles. He had a receipt for $1,000 where they had changed the ignition coil, all the spark plugs, and valve cover gaskets by a shop. It had welded Flowmasters actually. He had said that the exhaust was all stock, but it still has the stock Mach 1 rolled tips, but there are welded Flowmasters. Seats are amazing. Look how beautiful these seats are. You know, of course, you got the typical bolster wear, but these are really good looking seats. The dash is nice. There's no holes drilled in it. It even has the 12-volt plug that I talked about in my other videos that I like to see in these cars for originality. Just a really nice looking car all around. I'm very happy with this. Beautiful. So here I am signing the title, getting it all put over to my name, bill of sale, everything, making sure that all the paperwork's done correctly. And I did ask him before I went a couple times, are you sure you have the title? Because I've had that happen where I show up and they never had the title when they thought they did. So I came super prepared. I even brought a whole extra set of brand new Ford ignition coils in case there was a misfire. And in this cereal bag, which I thought was a great idea to reuse this, just in case it spilled, but inside is a Mobil 1 quart of extra oil in case I needed it, and I did add a little bit. I did look underneath the car. I crawled under there to look at the cylinder heads, and it does have the DA heads, so those are 4-thread heads, but they have the blue factory paint from Ford, so they are the revised heads. Really good looking heads. This was his car, a 99 Cobra front bumper, but it's a 99-04 GT, and he has a 5.4 in it with a 32 valve swap C heads and a really crazy intake manifold that he said was imported from Australia or New Zealand, I believe.
Got black bullet wheels. Sweet. Deep dish in the rear, looks good.
Yeah.
Those LMR wheels? Late model restoration?
They're American Muscle.
American Muscle? You got the caps to fit though, because usually the American Muscle, the caps don't fit. Yeah.
So anyway, it was really cool. We got in the car, we got on our way, and the car was awesome. It has a brand new clutch in it. Went and got gas. You gotta love California, high gas prices. Downtown LA, I saw the basic was $5.89, and then here it was $4.29 for 91 octane. So it was a little bit less the farther away from the coast you got. But anyway, filled it up with gas because I did not want to get stuck anywhere. I would rather just have a full tank. And then it was just smooth sailing all the way home from then. So we went through these really awesome areas. We took a different way home than where we had come because the bus had taken us all the way to Los Angeles and then up over to Oxnard, where in this case going home, we went through all these vineyards and orchards and really cool countryside. It was absolutely beautiful, and there were a lot of really neat classic cars driving by, and muscle cars, Corvettes, lots of neat cars. This was on a Saturday, and they were all headed to a really cool car meet that we saw down one of these side roads. So this is just one of the most beautiful places. I had to stop and get out and take a little video and picture of the landscape here. This is a beautiful place in Southern California. And like I talked about in my other videos, my family had settled a lot of California in the early days. They settled San Bernardino, and my grandparents worked as doctors in Bel Air, and also one of my great-grandpas was a director of film photography for Disney. So this is really neat to go to California and get to see some of the area where my family is from. And in some of this area where we were going back, we passed through places where Edwards Air Force Base is nearby, and my dad was stationed there during Vietnam era. And then he went to Taiwan. But this is my sister and me having fun. It's her recording us singing the songs on the radio. We brought my Bluetooth adapter so we could listen to music. And we like a lot of the same music and have fun and sing it together. And it was just a really great time for the two of us to have an awesome drive through California, Nevada, and then back to Utah. And so I really tried to enjoy a nice drive and just pretend like I'm out for a cruise. And it only took us, 6 or 7 hours to get home this way. It took us 10 hours to get there on the bus. But you can see all the different changing landscapes here and all the beautiful places. And I've been craving a nice desert drive. I've been wanting to go on one for so long. I've taken the extraterrestrial highway out towards Reno to visit family a lot growing up, and so I kind of wanted to go out there. And as we got through the desert, it reminded me a lot of Radiator Springs. I think this is a lot of where Pixar took their inspiration to make this movie. Obviously, they traveled Route 66, and it passes through parts of where we were going, like Barstow and stuff like that. So stop for gas again just to make sure that everything was going well, making sure we had plenty. The car was getting 26 miles to the gallon, and I think the car might have 373 gears in it because the RPM is just a little high. There's a Ford factory headlights. Those are brand new Ford replacements. But yeah, this place looked like Radiator Springs. This looked like the movie Cars. It was just a lot of fun. So cruising down the desert highway, we listened to Hotel California. We listened to a lot of music like that reminds me of desert highways, and this was just something I've been wanting to take my blue Mach 1 and just go cruise out in the desert with my friends and do stuff like that. And here I got a chance to do it with my sister and a wonderful running Mach 1. Before we went, I asked him to send me pictures of underneath the car because I had talked about the rust in the other cars that I had showed in my previous video. Other cars for sale have a lot of rust under them these days. But anyway, looking under there, I could see the plug for the fuel pump was moved, so I think it has a new fuel pump in it, so I think all is well there. And here's just a really cool view of the desert with the Joshua trees. So we were just having a blast, having an awesome time getting to cruise in the cars. And with a small family right now, I don't have a lot of time where I get to just go off and drive wherever I want. And a lot of my joy comes from my drive to work and back. And that is going to be in this car as my new daily driver. So not only do I enjoy my drive every single day to work and back, but I got to enjoy this drive like a vacation. There's a cool train going through here. We're getting back towards the California-Nevada border. You remember me always talking about these power lines when I went to go get my Terminator. Now we're back on Interstate 15, and that's kind of a landmark I always look for. And then the landscape just changes so drastically as you go up and down and through the hills and mountains and getting back towards Primm and Las Vegas again. And so it was actually a great time to be traveling. Usually it's like 115 degrees. I've gone through this same area in our Tahoe and I looked at the mirror that has the temperature outside and it was 116 degrees. And I thought, man, that's so hot. It's such a desert highway. But in this case, it was nice and cool. It was probably like 70 degrees. It was just perfect the whole way home. We didn't even really need to use the air conditioning. We had the windows down. There's the really interesting solar farm that's outside of Las Vegas. Just lots of really cool things to see. It's a beautiful view, and I'm glad I took all this video because I can sit back and watch this and enjoy the whole trip again. Here's a MagnaFlow truck. I thought that was pretty cool. I think I'm going to put my Magna packs on this car that I have. I have a set of MagnaFlow Magna packs I want to put on the car. Here we are getting into Las Vegas, and it's real fun to get to this point because now it's only a couple hours home, and this is more of like a second home because of how much time I've spent at the racetrack. I don't really go down into Vegas or anything, but this is kind of a fun place, and this is where my red Mach 1 came from, my blue Mach 1 in Boulder City just outside of Las Vegas. My brother's Screaming Yellow Terminator came from here. My Bullet came from here. A lot of my cars have come from here. A black Bullet I had, so it was just fun to be here in Vegas. Now, one issue that the car had, the only issue it had, was the power seat did not work. And so I thought, wow, since I'm here in Vegas, I might as well stop at the Las Vegas Pick-A-Part and get a whole bottom of the seat out of a Mustang. And that way I don't have to worry about trying to find one online or having it shipped. And the Las Vegas Pick-A-Part is somewhere I go a lot, so I know my way around there. And we're passing right by it. It's literally like 3 minutes off Interstate 15 here. So I decided to go ahead and go to the junkyard or the Pick-A-Part. And my sister had never been in one before, and so it was kind of sad for her to see Mustangs all crunched up like this. And there was a beautiful 40th anniversary edition, 40th anniversary package Mustang V6 with the Arizona beige stripes and the crimson red paint in there.
Arizona beige. How it shines in the sunlight.
You can see the mirrors are gone, the Export or Terminator style mirrors, obviously.
This is a winglet.
So this is a winglet. I never had a spoiler on it.
This was exactly like my first Mustang you saw at the beginning of the video. This was my first Mustang. This was a 98, but it had stripes.
Those were the good stripes.
So I'm glad I brought my tools with me. I wasn't sure if that's exactly what the issue was going to be, but I thought I might as well go in there and get this whole seat bottom for 25 bucks while we were in town, and we'll work on the car later. But it was so hot. I was inside that Mustang getting the seat out. It was like 100 and something degrees inside the car, working like a maniac, and you couldn't move the seat forward or back because it wasn't plugged in on that car. So that made it really hot and a really difficult task, but I did get the seat out. So we stopped at the Speedway gas station, this new Speedy Mart, and we got cold drinks. I got a freezing cold Gatorade with ice to recover from that. And then something really cool was this is my neighbor's 2011 GT500. I think it's an 11 or a 12. But you can see he has it set up for road racing, and I was over talking to him across the street from my house. This is footage of it across the street from my house. And he was putting it on a trailer to go road racing, and I could hear all the cars there at the track. He was going to Las Vegas, and I was going to be there the same day. And when I was getting gas, I could hear all those guys out there road racing, the Shelby GT350s and BMWs and Vipers and everything. I could hear them, so I drove over there, and I was able to catch footage of him racing. So I'm excited to show you this. so that was so cool, and of course I thought the Mach 1 looked great right there at the Speedway, so it was really fun. This is right next to where the drag strip is that I like to go. Something funny too is on this little drive, you can see the speed limit sign is 23 miles an hour. So that was really cool to see a zinc yellow GT pass us on the way home, and now we're going through another stretch of desert. This is between Utah and Vegas, where I live, and just a lot of really neat places. You can see the scenery here is absolutely beautiful. I just love this drive, and I've taken this drive so many times to go down to the racetrack and race the Bullet, and go down and watch the races too. So this is one of my favorite off-ramps. If you look, it swings all the way around where that truck goes, and I've taken my blue Mach 1 and got pictures there. And this is more of a nice big straight headed back towards Utah. So there's some really beautiful places coming up here that I'm excited to show. And if you saw the video of me taking my red Terminator to the dyno, you see a lot of this footage. We were going the other way, but the camera was pointed backwards out of the back window of the truck with my Cobra on the trailer. So this is that same scenery, this is that same area. And like I said, it was nice because it wasn't super hot. It's usually really, really hot when I'm traveling through here. And the landscape goes up and down and stretches, and so there's just a lot to it. But again, this is a lot like Radiator Springs. Reminds me of what it looks like in the movies where they go. And I like to watch these movies with my kids and then go drive around, and it really feels like you're there. It seems like it's just the same type of area. There's a whole different feel to the desert. So I just really love that, and I love how Pixar has captured that kind of a feel and everything. So here we are entering one of the most beautiful places in the world. This is called the Gorge. It's known as the Gorge, and before the highway used to go around here, but my parents were around when they made this road, and it's a canyon, and we're going to go through this canyon right here. And I really wanted to record entering this so that you could see. My friends love driving their cars through here kind of quickly. I have friends who love their motorcycles. It's one of their favorite places to go, and it really is beautiful. And it's really crazy how much scenery there is in here. I mean, you can see the landscape just change, and it doesn't just change for mountains, it changes colors as well too. So you'll see how beautiful this is. So now we're to the beautiful area where I live, the very familiar mountain ranges that you see in all my other videos. And as we were getting closer, my wife asked if we'd stop and go to the store and get some hamburgers and hot dogs and have a barbecue for my family that was visiting. And like I always say, walking out to the car is one of my favorite things, and the first thing you see is that bright zinc yellow, and that's the point I make when I say why I love the zinc yellows in my other video. But we did get the car home. Here it is in the driveway. Looks absolutely beautiful. The sun on it is so bright. It actually looks screaming yellow in these pictures, but it is zinc yellow, and I'm very thrilled to have this car. So, if you remember, I was talking about this trip was a little bit nerve-wracking for me, of course, doing all this sight unseen, taking my tools, not knowing if I would have to work on the cars. And when you're on the bus driving down there and it's absolutely pitch dark and all you see is cars going the other way, you realize how reliable cars are and how far they take you. And I thought, boy, I hope this car is just as reliable. I hope it gets me home, because it's a long way home. If the car breaks down, you are going nowhere. And I was really hoping that wasn't going to happen, but I felt quite confident, being who I am, having the tools and experience, that I could fix anything on this car if anything happened. But there was nothing wrong. It went perfect all the way home, and the car looks fantastic. So now, talking about putting this car back to where I wanted to, for a dream. So here's the walk I was on earlier with my kids. That's where I wanted to see the Mach 1. And so I went ahead and brought the Mach 1 and I put it there. So here is my dream come true. I have now made it a reality. Here is my Mach 1. And it's right there where I wanted it, and now I get to walk up to it and enjoy the nice evening and know that I have put in all the work, and now I have the reward. Here's the car. It's here now, and driving it around here is absolutely rewarding. I love having the car here. It was worth every second and every dime of the trip. So here's the other place I wanted to take the car, and now here's the car. It's right there now, and I put it there. There she is. There's my zinc yellow Mach 1.
Back where we were, only this time the yellow Mach 1 is here. And it's here because I did the work and I brought it here. So I'm so excited now to be back here, beautiful southern Utah, have my car. It was really a risk to go get it. It was difficult. It was an adventure. Here it is.
So I've definitely been enjoying driving it to work already, and I've been doing a few things to the car so far, so stay tuned because I will have update videos on this car and the things that it needs. Put in the comments what you think I'm going to do to the car, because I have a few things that I want to do right away, but also some few maintenance things just to make sure everything's fine. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video of me getting my Mach 1. I love getting a new Mustang. As you can tell, this makes number 17 for me. I have 4 right now. I've got the Azure Blue Mach 1, the 2 Terminators, Competition Orange and Torch Red, and I have this Zinc Yellow Mach 1. And so this makes the 4th Mach 1 that I've owned. This is the previous picture I had when I owned these 3 Mach 1s at the same time. Like I said, I sold the red one and this yellow one, but now I have the new yellow one. So maybe I just need to get a red one again and a white one, and I'm always joking about that. And so I hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for more updates, and thanks for watching.